Okay, so we have reached the Rule 5 draft, but before we get into that, I wanted to show you we have signed Chris Sale. I think this is a huge signing. If we take a look at the contract here, it's just under $25 million a year for 5 years, and then a 6th year that is a team option with a $4.6 million buyout. Obviously, it's a decent amount of money, but it is Chris Sale. I'm very happy to pay him that amount. I'm not sure if he'll be worth it by the end of the contract, but I don't know. I mean, these strikeout to walk ratio numbers are pretty incredible. I think there's still a lot that he can do at the age of 30, and it just makes the rest of the rotation better because now the number 5 slot there is Andrew Heaney, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I think our rotation is going to be much improved compared to last year. Now, in the free agency department, we are still looking to sign 2 guys. So it was that left fielder Kai that we had looked at before. Obviously, those splits are ridiculous, so he will not be playing against left-handed players, but we can have Teoscar Hernandez play. Sorry, that menu keeps popping up. We can have Teoscar Hernandez play when Kai is facing lefties. And the other type of player I'm trying to sign is a relief pitcher. And actually, taking a look at this list, I am going to withdraw my offer to Darren O'Day because I just saw that Juan Nicasio is really not wanting a lot of money. You can see last year had a very solid season, had a terrible year for Seattle, and I'm trying to figure out why that was because his numbers don't look bad. It's just the ERA that is crazy, but then in previous years he was also very solid. I'm just going to try to move this along because I think this salary demand is going to go up, so I'm just going to offer him 2.8 a year. The owner does not approve of the deal. Okay, my bad. All right, so for some reason there's some sort of bug that's not letting me offer a contract. I should be able to offer to Nicasio, so we'll worry about that later, but first let's go to the Rule 5 draft. So one thing about this draft is, in general, if one of my guys gets picked, I just grab him back because it's just too much time to sift through the list of minor league players that are eligible. And, right now we've got plenty of room on the 40-man roster, so I'd move over whoever needs to be moved over, but anyway, just letting you guys know that ahead of time. And if you do have a method of easily figuring out, who's eligible for the Rule 5 draft on your roster, definitely let me know because I would love to be able to figure that out. Anyway, one guy who immediately jumps out is Josh Naylor. He's not a stud by any means, but our head scout really likes him. He played well in AAA the previous year. And I don't know, I feel like he's definitely worth a flyer. So I think I'm going to pick him up in this first pick for the Rule 5 draft. And remember, with the Rule 5 draft, kind of the rule is that they have to stay on your 25-man roster for the whole season for them to stay on your team. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's good. In general, I don't want to get too much talent from the Rule 5 draft. I think Naylor's already pushing it. Now, after picking up Naylor, there is a question of whether or not we even want to sign Kai, who is the left fielder we had offered a contract to, because Naylor looks pretty good in terms of his ratings. And whenever he's facing a lefty, of course, Teoscar Hernandez could play. Basically, we'd be paying Kai about $6 million over 4 years. And he is 31, so there's definitely the threat of him starting to decline during that contract, whereas Naylor is going to be, basically making the league minimum. I don't know, though. I think at the end of the day, we're going to need Kai, if not this year, then next year when Randall Grichuk leaves, and even Pilar will be leaving too. Okay, so we have simmed ahead a little bit more, and we did sign Juan Nicasio to a 2-year, $2.5 million per year deal. And then we also signed Kai as well. He'll be an interesting one to see. I mean, definitely some major splits there. And in the batting order, our manager has already decided that Kai will be facing righties and not lefties, which is good because I wouldn't put anything past our manager. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about. So I'm not really a big fan on Montoyo right now, but if you take a look at his relationships, both in terms of the development and with the actual relationships, you can see it is average, but all the ones that are on the high side are kind of our most important players. So I don't know that I want to disrupt that. And I was kind of taking a look at some other possible managers. Let's see if they're even still available. Yeah, like Bob Melvin was one of them. I mean, I would be happy to sign someone like Bob Melvin. But when you look at the relationships, like bad relationship with Vlad Guerrero, I don't know. That's not good, right? And otherwise, I'm not going to sign Dusty Baker, who just doesn't pull starting pitchers and, things like that. So anyway, I would think about Bob Melvin. I just wish that he didn't have a bad relationship with Vlad specifically. And then I did want to talk about our new scout. So unfortunately, our new scout, and this is what I thought would be the case, our new scout does not like the players that our old scout liked. And I don't necessarily agree with our old scout. Nate Pearson is one of the ones that I was actually pretty disappointed about. You can see our new scout really does not like his control. We'll see if that's right. But anyway, he is high on Sean Reed-Foley and also Ryan Borucki. So we'll keep that in mind as we move forward. But some of the other guys we picked in last year's draft, especially our first-round pick, our new scout definitely does not like, especially as a hitter, which is not good. So I'm kind of glad that we'll be going into the next draft with our new scout, because I think that, again, I think our new scout is the one that is correct, at least most of the time. And in case you were wondering, Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s numbers are not quite as high with this new scout, but they're still exceptional. Okay, so we are here in the preseason. Some good news. Our budgets have been raised by $8 million, which is nice. I just allocated a little bit of that to scouting, but we do still have some money left over. So let's take a look and see if there are any other free agents we might think about signing here. We could even try to get someone like Craig Kimbrell. 3-year deal. Of course, the real life Craig Kimbrell would never sign this deal, but we could also think about signing someone like Betances. I'm not quite as high on him, but let's see what his contract demands are. Only a 1-year contract, so I do like that. Although, frankly, I don't mind signing Kimbrell to a multi-year deal. He's truly elite. And of course, in real life, his numbers did fall off a little bit in 2018, but he's still very, very solid. I think at the end of the day, I would rather sign Kimbrell. Let's see if he'll take a slightly diminished contract. He will, at least for now. All right, so we do sign Craig Kimbrell, so that is really nice. All right, so I think this is a very different team. I'm really excited to see what happens here. We've got Craig Kimbrell as the closer, also David Robertson, Juan Nicasio. I think that front end of that bullpen is looking pretty good. We've got Sean Reed-Foley and Borucki that we can kind of use as a 6th and 7th starter, as well as bullpen pieces. And I like the look of our rotation for the most part. I think, 2 through 5, it might be a little bit weak, but it's so much improved compared to what it was. And then we're just basically relying on this cheap core that we have offensively to get the job done. And there are question marks there. It's going to be some of these guys' first seasons, so you can't expect everything out of them for sure. The other thing I should mention, too, I did like the look of some guy that was in AAA. Let me find him. Yeah, Santiago Espinal. Again, just someone that would be a depth piece, but it's another kind of middle infield piece, and that was a lot of the reason I was ready to get rid of that depth is I just saw this guy. He can be called up after a month or two for sure as well. Again, only 25 years old, no Major League Service time, so there's just so much depth in this organization. I think the Blue Jays have done a really good job, especially in the infield. Okay, so we have simmed ahead to spring training. Now let's take a look at the preseason predictions. Okay, yeah, this is great. So we are predicted to win 91 games and really fight for a playoff spot. Of course, it's going to be tough because we're not in the AL Central, but we'll be facing the Red Sox and the Yankees a lot. The Rays also look to be pretty good. But anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.